think that'll work. Let me go back here. Okay, it says that I'm live, but am I? Hello, Jesus. It looks like I am back to being live. Okay. So I tried to change things up. I tried to add the chat. There should be a chat down below. And then I added my Twitter handle up here. Does everybody see that? Like a Twitter link and then the chat window? Let me know if that's what you see. That's what I'm trying to set it up for. Hopefully that worked. Hello, Nintendo, and hello, Chrissy. Nice to see everybody today. Happy Sunday, as they say in Europe. Oh, good, you do see it. Yes, great. Hello, TARDIS Rider. Wonderful. Yep, and I'm going to try to draw a Ghost Rider. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with a much smaller pen, and we'll see how things go. Thank you all for joining me. Get at least some of the outline and the major shapes done first, and then we'll see where it goes. Nintendo says that he's working on a Jack Torrance from The Shining. That sounds pretty cool. I like the idea of that. And then Ghost Dog, yes, I've been thinking about Ghost Rider ever since it was suggested, and I knew eventually I'd hear a Inktober prompt that felt like an okay fit. Today's was Trail, so as long as I have enough time to do this properly, there will be a trail of fire in this drawing. We'll see. Gave a lot of thought to like what kind of a motorcycle I wanted to put Ghost Rider on. I feel like there's usually two ways that it goes. There's usually either some sort of generic American motorcycle or some sort of supernatural hell bike that, you know, is kind of completely made up. There are exceptions. And I was like, I want to do either a chopper or more of sort of like, you know, a Japanese bike. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Hello, Keith. Hello, Geek Workshop. Hello, Karen. Hello, CSNG. And look, you're all appearing down there. Hey, you can all see what each other's saying while watching me. How about that? Nintendo says he's only ever tried to draw Ghost Rider once. I like Ghost Rider. I think he's got a great visual look. Very, very striking. Simple, straightforward, but cool. I'm a big fan. And I generally like drawing flames, fire. I feel like can usually pull that off. So Ghost Rider, I think, is a lot of fun to draw. He has such a striking central element, a flaming skull, that you can keep the rest of his uniform pretty simple, I think, and it'll still look really badass. TARDIS Rider says, yesterday with the car and today with the bike. Are you into classic cars and stuff? How much reference material do you use? I'm really not. I'm really not. That's pretty much just a coincidence that I'm drawing vehicles twice in a row. I don't think I have a huge knowledge base on cars in general. But to answer your question, yes, I'm using reference for these because I want to get it right, and I'm thinking of very specific things. So yeah, I looked at images of both. Yesterday was the 1970 Dodge Charger, and today I looked up various non-American motorcycles to sort of get inspired. And I believe what I've done here is actually, I'm pretty sure it's actually a BMW. But even though the sort of basic shape is referenced, I'm throwing a lot of it into shadow because I picked an angle where I could do that on purpose. It'll look like it's got lots of detail, but I don't have to fill it all in. The imagination will fill a lot of things in. Sigmix asks, do you know who owns the movie rights to Ghost Rider? Disney. Disney has them back. They put Ghost Rider in the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They could make a movie if they wanted, or they could do a TV show. They can do whatever they want. They've got the rights to them again. I say again, it's like Marvel has the rights, and they're owned by Disney. So Marvel Studios has the rights to Ghost Rider. They used the newest Robbie Reyes version on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., although they showed us that there was another Ghost Rider out there. So that could be Danny Ketch, that could be who's the original, Johnny Blaze, or maybe it's just the Spirit of Vengeance himself. But anyway, they left it open enough that if anybody wanted to do a TV show or movie, there's another Ghost Rider out there. But I'm going with the classic Johnny Blaze version because that's the one I read growing up. Although I like Danny Ketch too. Jesse Marsh asks what I'm drawing, and it's Ghost Rider. Let's see. Nintendo says, am I doing a supernatural bike or a flaming sports bike? A flaming sports bike. This is going to be based on a real world bike. I kind of prefer that myself. I don't know about everybody else. Here's some other questions. Ghost Dog says, I'm going to be eating some blueberry this Halloween. Are you into the monster cereals? I am, but I've got some blueberry, and it doesn't have that much flavor. I remember it having more flavor. It's just a general sweetness. It does not taste like blueberry at all to me. I think Fruit Brute holds up the best. Are you a toilet paper under or toilet paper over person? I'm running out of question ideas. That's from Geek Workshop. Over. I'm not a monster. Come on. I'm gonna put the toilet paper roll under? No. Come on. Nintendo says they completely ruined Robbie Reyes and Agents. I don't know why they would pick the only Ghost Rider who isn't bonded with a demon just to forcibly bond a demon to him. Because they could just do whatever they wanted. I liked it. I thought it was fun having Ghost Rider on the show. I thought he looked good too. But my expectations on what they can do on a TV show budget are definitely pretty lowered. So I wasn't expecting much. Maybe that's the difference. Don't forget about Cowboy Ghost Rider. Yeah, that's a cool one. Any thoughts on the role of colorists in comics? They don't get enough credit. Yeah, they can save comics. There's some really talented folks out there like Jordy Belair and Cameron Stewart. And I don't know. There's just tons of great colorists. I don't want to list them all, but there's I have a lot of respect for what they do. I can only do the most basic of flatting. I feel like I just don't have the chops. Got a lot of respect for colorists. Hello, Software Agents Corp. Thanks for dropping in. Nintendo says, I don't mind Ghost Rider and Agents at all. I just hate how they use the most unique rider just to take that away from him. That's fair. That's fair. Sigmigs points out, I think Elizabeth Breckweister could be a third member of the Brubaker-Phillips duo. It's a really good point. She's fantastic. Boy, and she sure keeps that serious, somber crime story mood intact when she works with those guys. Yeah, she's definitely a great colorist. I think the exciting thing about colorists are like anyone can break into comics that way, and I've seen that happen. It's pretty exciting seeing people break in as a colorist and then move on to maybe like writing or something. But I don't think they ever leave behind their colorist skills per se. Yeah. Do you think a Judge Dredd TV series is a good idea? Possibly. I think it could be done. I think it should be approached very carefully, and it needs to have a pretty good budget behind it. Just for establishing the world every once in a while. It's a really expansive world. The comic has done a lot of world building, so it would really be a shame if the TV show made that all feel very small. So we'll see. I don't know if Judge Dredd would really feel right if it was one of these shows that sort of has a main set. Like, if he's like always getting his orders at the beginning of the episode at a police precinct, and they talk everything through. You got the goofy crime analysis sidekick or something. I don't think that would be a good fit. If they can convince Carl Urban to reprise his role, then I would imagine that means that they've got some pretty good scripts. He's talking with them. I thought he did an excellent job in that role, so maybe. Julio says, do you watch the Todd McFarlane videos he posts on Facebook? He teaches a lot in his videos. No, I guess I wasn't aware that was something he did. So that's awesome. That's really cool. But I wasn't aware. Huh. Good for him. And I wonder whatever happened to those baseballs that he spent millions on, and then basically they became worthless as soon as the next season rolled around, and the what do you call them? The records for most home runs were instantly broken. Well, not instantly, but in the scheme of things, he didn't really have a piece of history for all that long. He paid a lot of money for him. I remember he went on a bunch of tours with them, so hopefully he got some really good PR value. I don't know. Sigamig says that the color versions of Scott Pilgrim made him appreciate colorists. Watchmen made me appreciate colorists, says Ghost Dog. Yeah. The tropes this week reminded me of Chick Tracts. It really hit me on the one with the holes that fit each person. That one sticks with a lot of people, Mark. It's a really creepy story, and I didn't tell the whole thing. I just sort of, actually, for pretty much all of them, I only gave the gist of it so that you could still read it, and there's more to the story that everyone could enjoy, if that's up their alley. And if not, you just hear my opinions on it and then go on your merry way. And it better be a merry way that you go on. Dredd could work well in a Netflix type series, says TARDIS Writer. Yeah, of course. Definitely agree with that. Sigamig says each chapter of Uzumaki messed me up more than the last. Oh, that's the truth. That is a disturbing, disturbing story. Hello, Anja. CSNG says, I remember reading the Junji Ito story about oil, that scene with the pores. Oh, that is one of the grossest. I know exactly what you're talking about from glycerin. Oof. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Okay. Okay. Julio says that he watched the anime One Punch Man. It's kind of cool. It deconstructs the superhero genre. I've heard that. Nintendo asks, who's my favorite horror killer? That's interesting because it's not quite the same as saying what's my favorite horror movie. So I'm going to say Jason Voorhees. Jason. Yeah, they're not good movies, but they're entertaining. Yeah, I like those a lot. Software Agents Core says, ha ha, Larry David. Have you seen the new season of Curb? I haven't. Yep, I love it. I'm a big fan. So yeah, I'm watching that. The latest episode, I think, was the third of this season. It's definitely the best so far of the season. It feels like classic Curb Your Enthusiasm. Really, really good. Did you ever read the 80s Wasteland series with stories by Del Close? Really weird stories, not exactly horror, but kinda. That's from TARDIS Writer. Um, wasn't Del Close the guy that did improv? Is that the same guy? Did he write comics? Or is it just a coincidence the same name? Huh. I don't know. There's a question. Are you familiar with Clive Barker? If not, his art would be cool to check out, and of course his movies, books. Um, yeah, I know Clive Barker. I liked the first Hellraiser. That was pretty good. I don't know if I've seen anything else by him that I really like that much. Did he do Rawhead Rex? It's kind of funny one, but cheap. And then he did a bunch of comics actually. Nightbreed, I want to say. So yeah, it's possible I could do an episode on him at some point. That could be interesting. If I did, I'd probably do it for October. Now that I'm thinking of it, so it could be a ways out if I covered Clive Barker. Trying to think of like what else he. I've never read any of his books or anything. Only like movies. So that's about all I know. Comic book guy joins us. Oh, TARDIS Writer says that is the same Del Close. Dude, I didn't know that he wrote comic books. I'll definitely check that out. I've got a lot of respect for what he did to shape long form improv. I think, wow. Huh. Now I want to like ask Matt Besser about that. Besser loved Del Close. Huh. Small world. Let's see. Not to be a downer, but Skunk, my grand passed this morning. Comic book guy, you have my sympathy. That's hard. That's really hard. Um, I'm sorry to hear that, but at least now she's not uncomfortable, and you can sort of move on. Try to get used to this new dynamic that you have. I'm sorry. That is tough. I hate having to do tonal shifts after following something so serious. So give me a moment here, folks. But I'm also following NFL right now on my phone. All right, Patriots just got a touchdown. I'm from Boston originally, in case that's never come up before. That makes me a New England Patriots fan. And you can feel free to hate on me all you want. But that's where I'm from, and I am a fan. And I'm happy when the Patriots get a touchdown. What else is being talked about? Okay. It's really nice that so many of you are extending your condolences to Comic Book Guy. That's really kind. Am I rooting for anyone in the World Series? Not really. Um, no. I guess this year I didn't really follow baseball very closely, so some years I care and some years I don't, and this year I didn't really follow it, so not too invested. Maybe next year. Hulk versus Thor movie. That's an interesting name. Joins and he says, "Hey son," it's not my actual father for the record. Hey son, like your Peter David Hulk video, are you going to do a vid about Walt Simonson's ass-kicking run on the mighty Thor for the release of Ragnarok? That's an interesting idea. Maybe. Let's just say this. I'm a humongous fan of Walt Simonson. I think he's incredible. So it's certainly possible. Keith Thomas says, your Junji Ito trope today introduced me to something new. Great. That's kind of what I was hoping to do with it. I feel like it's a creator who's pretty famous in Japan, not especially well known here in the States. Not known. I mean, his books have been translated into English. There's an audience. But among the comic book fans I talked to, a lot of people haven't heard of him before. And I was like, all right, here's a subject that hasn't been covered a whole lot. So, cool. If you try him out, you'll have to let us know what you think. Some disturbing stuff. Comic book guy says, on a happy note, I'm reading We Three. You guys, it's a book that will make you think, cry, and cheer. We Three is such an awesome story. In some ways, it may be my absolute favorite book by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. It's good sci-fi. It's interesting, and ultimately, it does make me feel pretty good. Oh, that's such a good book. It was such a treat when it was like coming out brand new to be like reading it each month and going like, oh my gosh, this is something special. Yeah, I think uh, a lot of people would like We Three, even if they're not too into or don't think that they're into comics. It's a pretty small story. It's a good entry point. A lot of people love animals at least, so they can get on board there. We Three is really good. Julio Torren asks if there's an iconic Ghost Rider story. You know what's interesting is there might not be. There's some Ghost Rider stories I've enjoyed for the various versions, but yeah, I don't think they even knew what they were doing for the first couple years on that book. I mean, like his powers sort of shift and change, and they're not like they're like, can he just turn them on willy nilly? Does it only happen at night? Like what is our version of the devil? Is it the devil? Is it Satan? Is it Mephisto? Uh, Things changed quite a bit in those first couple of years. The dynamics of the supporting cast, etc. So at least the initial run was not necessarily iconic. It was fun, but not iconic. Then you get the Danny Ketch version, which was pretty good when it first came out, and then kind of started to sink when it lost its original creative team. So I don't know if you could argue that any of them are iconic. Jason Aaron and Tony Moore teamed up on a really cool run that I think could potentially one day become iconic if enough people notice it. It's really good. That's probably my favorite run. Who's my favorite Ghost Rider? Ultimately, probably Johnny Blaze, just because that's the one I happened to sort of get introduced to first. Nothing more than that. All of them are good in their own rights. Not a big fan of Vengeance. He was sort of like the dark and gritty version of Ghost Rider that came from the Danny Ketch run in the 90s. It, not my favorite. Software Agents Corp says, I still need to check the new comic Tropes. One of my filmmaker buddies from Colorado has a collection of Ito's work. Awesome. Yeah, hope you like it. TARDIS Writer says, I missed yesterday but watched some of it today. Regarding the subject of solo comics creators versus teams, I think you forgot a lot of underground artists who are soloists. R. Crumb, Gilbert Shelton, etc. No, I wouldn't say I necessarily forgot them because, in independent comics, one of my personal favorites is Harvey Pekar. But Harvey was really just a writer. He always had to hire different artists to see his vision through. And I think his comics that you can read in like American Splendor are fantastic. So I'm not discounting that. I'm still not sure. I'm still thinking about it, like whether in comics a singular vision versus um, a team, whether there's more consistency with one or the other. It's really hard to say. It was an interesting question. It was a thinker. Should have thrown that back on Harry and asked if he had an opinion. about it in either comics or animation. So obviously he works a lot by himself, and I wonder if that influences him at all, like his opinion on what he likes. I gotta be frank, did not care for Morrison's run on X-Men. Well, you're not alone. A lot of people, I guess, didn't care for that run, but I personally loved it. I got a lot out of it. I think that they added a lot of depth to the characters. I don't know. I liked it quite a bit. Mark Mariner says, would Ghost Rider's penance stare work on Daredevil? Probably not. Probably not. It is a thing where he looks somebody in the eyes. Now it's supernatural, so I'm sure a writer could say like it doesn't matter that somebody's blind, but I think it would be fair to say that that basically gives them a type of immunity to his powers, which would be cool for like a bad guy that's blind. I think that would be pretty cool for him to be invulnerable to Ghost Rider's penance there. Ultimately, it's up to the first writer who thinks to address that. But I don't think it has been addressed. And if it was up to me, I would say the penance stare would not work on a blind person. Milos, hello. Who are some of your favorite non-comic book artists? Asks Ghost Dog. Oh. I'm so bad at names. I can think of some painters that I like, and I'm having trouble right now thinking of their names. There's a number of modern day pop surrealist painters that I really admire, that my fiance has introduced me to, like Greg Simpkins, or who else is really awesome? I like Scott Brooks. I like oh boy, I'm so bad at names. Chrissy, are you in the chat room? If so, can you throw out some of the painters that you've introduced me to that I really like? And if not, then I'm sorry. I'm just bad at names. I'm always forgetting names. Comic Book Guy says they need to do Taskmaster comics again. Yeah, that'd be cool. Nintendude says, what do you think of Batman Master Race? I haven't been able to pick up any because they are so expensive. I don't have any interest in it. I'm not going to, I just, zero interest. I can't, I'm trying to think of the last thing Frank Miller wrote that I actually enjoyed unironically. I mean, I guess it was like some early Sin City stuff. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been able to enjoy his work. Which is weird. I used to be a big fan. He was definitely an early influence on what I liked. And I've met him, but he wasn't that as weird as he sort of seems to have become. Your mileage may vary. Mark Berner says that Ghost Rider could give Daredevil a penance fart. Sure. He could. I don't know if it's as extreme as the penance stare, making you feel the pain of what you've caused others, but yeah. Thing is, if Matt Murdock got hit with the penance stare, I think he would be more destroyed than the average person. Now, he hasn't caused that much pain in others per se. I mean, he is a hero, but he's Catholic. He's very Catholic, and he feels guilty all the time, like he's not doing enough, or if he's made a mistake, he really dwells on it. He has trouble letting that go. So I think that if he got hit with the penance stare or a penance fart, he would be wrecked. Oh, Chrissy points out some of the artists she's introduced me to that I like. Tara McPherson, yep. Red Walitsky, definitely. Naoto Hattori, Mark Ryden. Mark Ryden, yep. Those are cool. All right, see you, TARDIS Rider. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see. Software Agents Corp says, it's very sad. Miller's run on Daredevil, namely Born Again, is phenomenal. They're some of my favorite comics of all time. I agree. So good. And he's just not really the same creator. Took me a long time to come to terms with that because I was like, I got what was his second one? Dark Knight Strikes Back, and I'm like, maybe I like this. And All Star Batman and Robin, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty nutty, violent stuff. And then ultimately, I was like, no, I'm not personally enjoying this. This is just not for me anymore. So yeah, it can take a while sometimes to realize that something isn't for you after all. Like those Star Wars prequels, I mean, I thought I liked them. Then I like sat down and thought about it, and I was like, well, what parts do I like? I'm like, oh, I don't really like this. It can be hard to admit that, like when you don't like something that you've been a fan of before. But I think that honesty helps you sort of understand yourself better and know what you do enjoy when you can finally be honest and say, all right, not for me. It's not judging anybody else that does like it. It's just that not for me. Oh, Chrissy's got more artists. Yeah, these are artists I like. Alexis Rockman, Christian Rex Van Minnen, Brian Despain. Those are all really cool artists that I like, not comic book artists, to answer the question. Ooh, Uzumaki with the Jack in the Box. Yep, pretty disturbing. Software Agents Corp says, I thought Dark Knight Strikes Again was garbage. At least All Star Batman and Robin has good art. Yeah, that's fair. Nintendo says that uh, the Todd McFarlane YouTube channel has helped him with his art a lot. That's awesome. That sounds positive. Were the baseballs McFarlane bought devalued because of the steroid scandal? I don't think so. I think that they were really just devalued because the following year there were more home runs. But it's been a long time since I gave that any serious thought, so I'd have to think about that a little. Reread the history of it all. Comic Book Guy says, can now say I have more Wildcats figures. They're kind of easy to get. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't think that there's a lot of demand for the old Wildcats figures. Nintendo says, I've read almost every major Batman graphic novel and have never read The Long Halloween. I really need to fix that. Yeah, Long Halloween's not bad. It's probably my favorite thing that Jeff Leb has ever written. I don't generally care for most of his stuff, but Long Halloween's not bad. If you've read everything else, it's definitely one you should read. At that point, you just need to be a completionist, right? Hello, Slyfly Guy. He just joins us. Software Agents Corp says, my graphics person for my videos hates professional sports. She told me the baseball players have pay-or-play contracts. They can sit out seasons and still get paid. I obviously chose the wrong career. Yeah, but they still have to be, they can't like sit it out if they're healthy, I don't. They'll void their contract if a doctor says that they're healthy. That's my understanding anyway. Guess I'm not an expert. Anybody got any travel planned? Any going anywhere interesting? A Tropes on Mad Magazine would be great. Even a superhero one would be doable. Yeah, that's true. I have given some thought here and there to looking back to Mad Magazine's sort of founding days with Harvey Kurtzman and that. It's possible. It's something I've definitely thought about. Chrissy says that she's going to Hong Kong and Japan in February. We are, or you are. Let's see. Nintendo asks, do you own the Color Tops McFarlane Toys Spawn figure? Huh? Must be asking someone else. I don't have that. Comic book guy says We Three would be a great movie. Agreed. And Nintendo asks Chrissy for a souvenir. Chrissy says that she has to talk me into joining. Well, I mean, I'd love to go. You guys may have heard that I recently got laid off, so it's not easy to just commit to going on a trip. I would love to go. It's definitely one of the most fun trips I've ever been on. We went last year because Chrissy had some paintings in a gallery in Hong Kong, so we made a big trip out of it. Um, and now it's been a year, and the owner of the gallery that brought Chrissy in has moved, and not all of the paintings sold, so some of them are still back there being held by one of the employees. So we're thinking we may want to go back and retrieve the unsold paintings and make a trip out of it. But I don't know if I can make a plan like that while I'm unemployed. I'm going to need some new pens after Inktober. Might as well get them in Japan. Yeah, yeah, that's true. I could use some new pens. Um, and it would be fun to make a comic tropes episode actually in Japan. Closest I got was I showed some photos and I picked up a Ghost in the Shell book there. So my Ghost in the Shell video for comic tropes shows tiny, tiny bit of that trip, but not video. It was great. In Japan, we went to the Studio Ghibli, went on the tour there. Not easy to get tickets there. Uh, Quite beautiful. Yeah, we did a lot of great stuff in both Hong Kong and Japan. Would be fun to go back. Keith Thomas says, "Have you thought about writing a book about comic book history from your unique perspective?" No, not really. I don't know that I have that much perspective on things. If you want to, you know who should do it is my friend Benito Cereno. He knows comic history. If he wants to team up with me, I'll do it. But yeah, look him up on Twitter, Benito Cereno, like the Herman Melville character. He always has interesting stuff to say about comic books. Software Agents Course says, "I've been to Japan before. Please back a sweater or two. It's much colder than the US." Oh, it must mean please pack. Got it. All right, Nintendo. Thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Be well. Continued success with your art. have to check on the score in just a moment, so bear with me. Sorry I'm quieter tonight. No reason, just getting lost in the artwork. Trying to pull my head up every once in a while and see what questions are there. Comic book guy says he misses the old Spawn toys. They were better than the new ones that break if lint falls on them. Wow, that does sound pretty delicate. Okay, pretty low scoring game. I need some chocolate. I think those Nika toys break pretty easily. This Jason Voorhees is Nika. And each of the joints feels just a little loose in a way that makes me nervous. So I don't generally try to pose him in different ways too much. There's a ring light reflection on the overlay. Whoops. Hope that's a little better. Sadly, I must get ready for bed. That's the ghost dog. All right. Thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Be well. Software Agents Corp also says he's going to go work on his videos. Hope I can catch you tomorrow, Chris. Yeah, that'd be nice. All right. Chrissy asks, what's my favorite Halloween candy? Does it have to be for Halloween? Or is it just because I don't really eat candy any other time except Halloween? Those are two different things. I'm going to say my favorite Halloween candy is candy corns. Nom nom nom. So good. The weird thing is, pretty much any candy, if I have like a whole box of it, I'm kind of sick of it for a little while. I get burnt out on candy kind of fast. What are some good movies that are out right now? I've seen Blade Runner. Is there anything else worth seeing? Sigamig says, ever tried White Rabbit candy? Chrissy says that she loves it. I don't think I know what that is. Um, huh. White Rabbit candy? What is it? Hmm. Don't know. I just don't know. It's a creamy milk candy. Oh. Aku says that he also likes it. How's the candy of Sigamig's childhood? Wow. Uh, I'm ignorant. I don't. I don't think I know it. Hmm. White Rabbit candy. Is it made out of actual rabbits? Comic Book Guy says that he thinks Wildcats figures look great. You're allowed to think that. Even if it's wrong, you're still allowed to think that. I'm still hung up on this idea of something called white rabbit candy that I've never heard of. So no one has any trips coming up. No one has any movie recommendations. Uh, what are you drawing? Asks Attitude Era Gaming. This guy's name is Ghost Rider. He's a sort of a superhero. He's kind of more of just a demon that does basically good things. Character I like. Mark Bariner says, ever see the YouTube guy who does alien autopsy on candy? I haven't. I haven't. Huh. Alien autopsy on candy. Well, sounds pretty original. Cool. Chrissy says that the best movie ever made is a little gem called The Peanut Butter Solution from 1985. Not 100% sure I agree. I have been made to watch it. It's got its charms. I see how kids would have enjoyed it. It is a very low budget TV movie. I don't think it's for everybody. But it does star the guy that went on to play Colonel Ty on Battlestar Galactica, so that was unexpected. He plays the dad. See, Chrissy, I did pay attention. I was like, oh, there's an actor I wouldn't have expected to see pop up. But I was watching. I think that Chrissy should have a YouTube channel where she live streams almost every day, because she is an exceptional artist. Really, really good. And she has more to say on art technique and stuff than I probably ever will. Chrissy says that we should figure out how to live stream together. Yeah, I guess we could sort of each have one camera on each of our art and then one camera on the two of us, if we could figure out like some sort of setup like that. Would be interesting to try anyway. I'd have fun doing it. What's everybody's current favorite show that's airing? In case I'm missing a good one. What's your current favorite TV show? Mark says as long as I'm not her tech guy, no. No, clearly Chrissy is the tech one between the two of us. I've got my little niche where I'm happy to draw and talk comics and stuff, but in this household, she's obviously the real artist, and I'm just sort of doing it for fun. Mark Berner says New Walking Dead, and Sigamig says I've started watching Broad City. Yeah, I've heard good things about Broad City. I haven't watched that yet. I should do that. I should pull some up on demand. Um, and I forgot that tonight was a new Walking Dead. That'll be cool. But I still haven't seen the. I never watched the season finale last year, so I should pull that up first. So maybe I'll be watching it tomorrow morning. But I'll watch it. I'm curious what changes they make from the comic. You know, I always thought that my Walking Dead episode was going to get more views. I released it last year, uh, right after the season had started, and basically compared the comic book issue that they adapted to the screen. But it didn't get a lot of views. Most of my stuff doesn't. But I thought that one was going to. I guess there's probably channels out there that must be dedicated to doing nothing but Walking Dead analysis and trivia, so people probably have already had their fill. I don't know. I had fun making that one, though. Did some pretty silly stuff in it. Chrissy says that she's enjoying this season of Nathan for You, and that reminds me that I haven't seen this week, so I'm excited to see that. That show makes me laugh pretty hard. If you haven't watched it, this guy goes around to small businesses and offers his supposed expertise to like improve their sales or something, and his ideas are always tremendously convoluted and not at all good. But he convinces these people to try him out, which is hilarious. If you like Ali G, you'd like Nathan for You. Well, not many questions, so I guess I guess there's probably just not a lot of interest in this drawing. Um, I guess I'll just sort of wrap it up here in a sec. So usually, if the chat room isn't very busy, it means there's not too much interest in what I'm drawing, and it means that there's not going to be a whole lot of interest in the archived version either. Usually, the more people are talking, the more they're interested in the result or the character or something. So, I'm glad I tried to draw this character. I guess it's not my best, but I still had fun. It's good talking to everybody. Yeah, almost done with what I'm gonna do. Wow. Sigamig says, "Did you like the Nick Cage Ghost Rider?" No. I wanted to, but no. I didn't think either of them was very good. I don't completely blame Nicolas Cage. It just, yeah, didn't strike me as very inspired. The second one had more personality, but felt much lower budget and not much happened really in it. So no, I don't care too much for either of the Ghost Rider movies. And it's too bad because I do like the character quite a bit. Maybe you should add a ghost hovering in the background and give her really big boobs. Aku says that the Gabrielle Luna Ghost Rider is pretty cool. Yeah. And Mark Bariner likes Chrissy's idea and adds penance boobs. Oh, a great idea for the whole family. Oh, some questions. Let's see. Do you plan to add color to the flames? I have a bunch of orange Copics you could use if so. No, I don't have any plans to color this in. I agree that it would look cooler that way, but I don't want to keep working on this. I'm getting burnt out. I'm about done. I'm going to try to black in this area and call it a night. But thank you very much for the offer. It could look cooler if it was in color. But I also don't think it's necessarily worth coloring. I don't think it came out that great. So, yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Has Nick Cage been in any good movies? People like to joke around about him. Mark Bariner says Raising Arizona. Yeah, he's been in several good movies. I think that even though he's a little over the top and crazy in it that he's good in Bad Lieutenant New Orleans Port of Call. That's a more recent one. I think that's pretty good performance. He's good in like The Rock. It's an action movie, but he's good in that. Raising Arizona and a lot of his early stuff like Wild at Heart and things like that. Yeah, yeah, he's not too bad. Can't think of anything super recent that I've watched that I've enjoyed him in, but I'm sure he's done something halfway decent. I think he can be a good actor with the right material. Falcons missed a field goal. Good. Keith says, enjoyed your ink work as always. All right, you taking off, maybe? That's what it sounds like. If so, thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. This has been a tough exercise coming up with good ideas and trying to execute all sorts of different stuff. I think that there's been some progression for me, but still have a long path to go. Still have plenty of days left in this exercise, so see how that goes. Is there a question there? Oh, Leaving Las Vegas, Mark Barron points out. Yeah, that is a good Nicolas Cage movie. Great call. Great call. Surprised he doesn't do more comedy. Matchstick Men was great with Sam Rockwell. I've heard that and I haven't seen it. Karen asks, have any of you guys tried drawing on a Dressception? It's like an Okaki style drawing telephone game. It's quite fun, if not sometimes a bit too graphic. I've never heard of that. That sounds really interesting, but I have never heard of that. That's totally new to me. I'll look into it. Thanks for the info. Wonder if it would be fun to be rich. I think it would be fun to be rich. Hey everybody, let's go become rich. Might be fun. Worth a shot, right? Oh, adaptation. Wow. Yeah, the sudden car crash scene in that is very well done and must have been pretty influential because I feel like a lot of things have adapted it in the same way. Um, yeah, he was really good in adaptation. So he's got plenty of movies where he's delivered a great performance. He gives what the director wants, and I think that some of them want a weird, over the top performance, and he's like, fine, I guess. Great calls, Mark. I knew he'd done a bunch of good stuff that I'd seen, and it just wasn't coming to me. So thanks for stepping up and filling in the blanks as I fill in the blacks on this last wheel well. Overall, I think that the car I drew yesterday definitely came out better. Uh, don't know why. Maybe I just had a better angle for that or something. I don't know. I'll analyze it later. See what I can learn. What was the first comic book you remember getting for yourself? For me, it was a Transformers issue, something like number 27. That was the first comic I remember getting for myself. But I'd be curious what you all think. Hello, Shirley. Thank you for jumping in. If it was Seahawks versus Patriots, who do you root for? I root for the Patriots. It's happened before. That's my team. Nothing against the Seahawks, but I'm a Patriots fan. So, yeah. Chrissy was the one whose loyalties were sort of divided because she's originally from Seattle. So she'd become a Patriots fan, but had to see them face each other. She just sort of made her peace with whoever won she would be okay with. That sounds tough. Chris has a Super Bowl story about Patriots versus Seahawks. Wait, I have a story? Let me think. I mean, the team I wanted to win won. What more do I have as far as the story goes? What am I forgetting? Fill it in. Everybody can see the chat now. I'm trying to think. Did I get like yelled at for wearing a Patriots jersey or something? Pats are doing well as usual. Thank you, Shirley. I'm following along. I've got my phone to the side here, updating me with the scores. Look at this. I get sick, I still do this show. I travel to New York, I still do the show. I get fired, I still do the show. My Patriots are playing, I still do the show. Amazing. Just amazing. Maybe if I had like done it the other sort of way, it might have looked cooler. I don't know. Oh, Chrissy says, I was watching the game with a bunch of Seahawks fans, and the Hawks were about to win, and then the Hawks royally screwed up and lost at the last moment. Yeah, it was a stressful game. Mark says that if it's Pats versus a team with Hitler as coach, Saddam Hussein as quarterback, and Bin Laden at wide receiver, I root against the Pats. Yeah, I've heard that stuff before. And Shirley says, yeah, should have run the ball. Yes, of course. And that is too bad. Like like I can watch that moment and be like, oh, why? It hurts. But yeah, it's the way it is. All right, I think that should do it. All right, yeah, I'm done for today. Thank you all for joining me. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Sorry I was a little quieter than usual, but there we go. What do I have to put under here? So if I do this, no, I was trying to make the there. All I needed to do is move stuff out of the way. So there's my Twitter. You can follow me there at Chris Piers. There's you. Look, say all these comments. Ta-da! And there's the final artwork. All right. All right. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. And until then, keep reading comics and watch the latest comic tropes, too. Bye.